Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Global Adventure Show with travel writer Debbie Stone. Welcome, everyone. It is time to chat with Debbie Stone, the travel writer who goes around the world and across America, but today she is taking us to Madrid for a culinary adventure. Apparently, we're going to talk about drinks and tapas, and I believe there's mushrooms involved. We'll find out, but Fire Monkey, welcome back. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, and yes, there are mushrooms involved, which we will get to a little bit later. But, I think food tours, I've done numerous ones all over the world, and I'm still a real advocate of them. I think they provide people with a real good opportunity to get a sense of the food scene, and also within that, get a sense of the place and history. And, it's really nice because typically you get a guide that, of course, is been there for a long time or is in fact a true local. And, they know the kind of, ins and outs of the area that you're going to explore, and also about the food that you're going to eat or the drinks that you're going to imbibe in. But this one was a tapas and a drinks and tapas tour, the ultimate drinks and tapas tour, done by the tour guy company that does these types of tours all over the world, actually. And this one took place in Madrid.
Very nice. And everyone, the link is in the episode notes. Go to thetourguide.com, and from there you can find the Madrid. You want the tapas, right? A tapas, an ultimate drinks
right.
and tapas tour. And also the link for Debbie's article on this, talking about what she experienced. But I love this because when you do these kinds of tours, you're really getting the history of the people and the place, right? So that's what we always talk about with these tours. But I almost feel like sometimes do the food tour first of everything, because the food tells the history of the people. It really does.
I completely agree. And in fact, that was really the first thing that we did upon arrival. So it kind of, put us in a good place. I mean, I love tapas, love drinks, and this was, a great way to kind of get introduced. It's also, they focus on one of these wonderful, on a neighborhood, specifically in this case, it was La Latina, it's known for its tapas bar, and it's known for its culinary treasures. And so it's one of these, picture like narrow streets, cafes, watering holes, little restaurants, and little plazas with, churches, and there's murals, and, it's very lively. It's one of the Madrid's oldest areas. There's a lot of activity, especially late in the afternoon and the evening when people are out and about. And, this is an outdoor culture, basically. They love to, eat outdoors, drink outdoors, sit in a cafe, watch the world go by, people watch. So this was fun to go into this particular neighborhood and, explore. We went to several different spots to have not only the tapas, but to have some drinks as well.
Well, also, I heard that you had award-winning tortillas.
They were so good, yes. And tortilla is one of Spain's really most popular dishes. And basically, they said the ingredients are just eggs, potatoes, and onions, and they cook these in olive oil. You sometimes add cheese, other times you add maybe if you add other vegetables, but those are that's the standard. And tortillas are a really common tapa, which is, if people don't know what a tapa is, like an appetizer, a little snack. And you're going to see tapas on menus everywhere in Spain. And I did not know that the original meaning of tapa is a cover or a lid, because the origin was derived from this custom of putting your bread or your meat on top of the glass to prevent the flies or the dust from getting into the drink, which I thought, that makes sense.
I did not know that either. Oh my gosh. So it's like, well, that's got to be some old history there, right?
Very, very old.
Now we have ways to get rid of the flies unless you're outside. But I think also what's great is it allows you to have these snacks, and then, because I know Spain has some wonderful wine, and it gives you those little snacks so that you can keep yourself centered through the day or night.
Absolutely. And also, and also, people, you can easily make a meal of tapas, and a lot of people do, because, maybe you're with a table of friends, and, so, you're going to order a bunch of different tapas, and then you get to try all these different tapas, but you can make definitely a meal out of tapas. And, after this tour, we definitely, did not need to eat dinner, I can tell you that. So these tapas are cold or hot. And as I said, they're usually shared. And it's a great introduction to Spanish food. And we got to have some Spanish beer from a very old, 100-plus-year-old brewery.
That's
and
amazing.
Beer is the most common alcoholic drink. Wine is of course very, very common and typical, but beer is the most common alcoholic drink. And it's
I did not know that.
And it's typically, I understood it to be, it typically has a low alcohol count, which is why people can drink a lot more of it. So you'll see people drinking beer all times of the day. We saw these men in the morning, and they were switching between beer and their espresso in the morning.
Wow. Okay, maybe I might want to move there. I don't know. I'm known to enjoy a, cold pizza and a beer in the morning. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
So
well,
I don't need the pizza. I could do a tapa,
You could do a tapas or a little tortilla,
Do breakfast tapas?
Yeah, I mean, you can have a tortilla for breakfast if you want. So in essence, yes, So,
does it taste different than the tortillas here in the United States?
Yes, definitely, definitely. And because we think of tortillas as something like like you can have a corn or flour tortilla that is like filled with something, on top of whatever it is. This is eggs, potatoes, and onions, and in one of the photos that I took, it's fairly thick looking. It looks kind of like a big pancake almost, So it doesn't look like what you think of when we think of Mexican tortillas,
Okay.
This is a Spanish tortilla.
This is so important because unleavened bread has been around for millennia, really around for human cultures for years. And I go back to I look at a tortilla and I remember the first time I saw one, I was like, it's a chapati, but it's like this perfectly, when you get them from the grocery store, here's the perfect shape and all that. But it's not a chapati. And a chapati is, I know that they use similar ingredients, but it's not the same. And it is thicker. And, I'll do anything for a chapati right now. But anyway, there's an African unleavened bread. But then when this is, so everyone does it differently according to what they have and what they like. So they're thicker in Spain. And then you get to drink beer. See, that's the...
Right. Absolutely. And this was at a very cozy spot called the Taberna La Buja. And like I said, this is, as you mentioned, award-winning tortillas. And so that was pretty cool. And the next one that we went to was the Taberna La Concha, which is this very old-style bar, and it has this really bright turquoise exterior, so you can't miss it if you're walking by. And it's a real favorite spot for locals and tourists. And they make these incredibly decadent cheese boards with all these luscious Spanish cheeses. They put sweet quince paste. They put orange jam, cinnamon jam, and it's it's beautiful. It's very aesthetically pleasing as well as incredibly delicious. And they pair this with a glass of Manuela, which is their homemade vermouth, which is supposed to be, according to what they say, the best in the city. And you watch as the bartender crafts this cocktail. He sprays the martini glass with gin, and then he fills it with the red vermouth, and then he tops it with some Campari bitters. And, it's just like we were watching it. It's like quite the process, and they're beautiful looking, and they taste wonderful, and they go really well with the cheese.
Okay, so the cheese, is it mostly like cow cheese, or are we going goat?
All different kinds. Sheep cheese, goat cheese, different kinds, and, manchego, all those different kinds of cheeses. But, very delicious with like a basket of bread, so it's, once again, you can make a meal out of that.
I heard that you went back in the footsteps of Ernest Hemingway again, at Goosey again, because I know you've done that before, down in the Keys and
right. He good old Papa, as they called him. He got around, but this was at the La Casa del Abuelo, which means grandfather's house, it's translated, and this has been a Madrid institution since 1906. Supposedly, it was frequented by Hemingway in the 20s and the 30s, but our guide said that many of the bars make that same claim, but it could be possibly true because he did like to go to watering holes.
This is so cool. But now the other thing is the calamari sandwiches with the squid ink bread, because I keep looking at these photos.
Oh, my God.
It's so different, even the shape, and
Oh, they are amazing. I mean, I love squid ink. When I've had squid ink pasta, it's a black noodles. But this is I've never had the squid ink bread, and it gives it this dark color, this earthy flavor, and the calamari was so good. It was so crisp. And then we got some of the house famed sweet red wine to go with that. But that was probably I'm like drooling thinking of these calamari sandwiches. I would like one right now.
Oh boy. So that's the thing about travel. You get attached to something, and then it's like, all right, you're going home now, and you're like, well, where? Like, how am I going to make that at home?
And where am I going to find it? Who makes it?
Who makes squid ink bread? I mean, come on, that's completely, But then, okay, now let's talk about red wine and soda. Like, you had some interesting drinks here, for sure.
Yes. And this was the Tinto de Verano, which is like, Verano is like their summer drink, but it's red wine and soda. It's very classic Spanish drink, but we had it at this place called the Maison del Champion, which means like kind of the house of the mushroom, I think. But it's a packed place. It is like it's a big draw for the locals. But everyone stands around the bar. There's a little seating area in the back, and this place, they are the undisputed kings of mushroom in terms of they serve them in a very traditional fashion. They're huge, big, signature grilled mushrooms, and they can fill them with chorizo, they can fill them with garlic and parsley, or the vegetarian style, which I had. And the idea is to eat them whole in one bite. It's like when you eat a piece of sushi, you eat it whole. You don't try to tear it apart kind of thing. So, as I said in my story, I stopped counting how many I ate because they were so good. And my final word here is go hungry to this tour. And in fact, in most food tours, you go hungry because you will be, waddling away afterwards.
I'm all in on the mushrooms, especially garlic and parsley. Yep. I have a thing about mushrooms, seriously. And when I was looking at them, I'm going, this is insane and good, and I'm ready. I want. So everyone, I think we need to go to Madrid because we can have all these different cocktails. But it seems like they don't imbibe, like they'll drink, throughout the day, but it doesn't seem like everything is like heavy alcohol. Yeah.
No, and I don't really. Yeah, I think you're right, and I think they a lot of stuff has a low alcohol count to it too, which means you can drink a little more of it, and you won't get inebriated, so to speak. But they really like their beer, they like their cocktails, they like their wine, and they love their tapas.
All right, so everyone, again, check out the episode notes. You can also go to bigblendmedia.com to learn more and find the article there. Look in the search box or look for Debbie in the expert department. But you can also go to thetourguide.com and learn more and book your trip if you're going to Spain. And who doesn't want to go to Spain? Thanks so much, Fire Monkey.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for listening to Big Blend Radio's Global Adventure Show with travel writer Debbie Stone. Debbie is here every fourth Tuesday. You can keep up with us at bigblendradio.com.